Wow, pretty impressive for me. Yeah, 5,000 subs on this channel. Gotta say, I'm slightly overwhelmed. A couple of months ago, we only had a few hundred, and now we're at 5,000 subs. In one video I've done is nearly at 100,000 views. So clearly, talking about my retirement journey, life at 50 and all of that is definitely resonating with people. And so I've decided, you know what, I'd like to give something back. So the plan is I'm going to do something a little bit special this coming Saturday. And I kind of want you to be involved and sort of help out as well if you can. Nothing hard or anything like that. But I'm planning to do a live Q&A. So question and answers, ask me anything about my thoughts, you know, life at 50, my retirement journey so far. I get it, I'm a noob at this retirement gig, but clearly some of the things I've said, some of the experiences I've had are very relatable to a lot of people. I get so many comments on my videos and it's so encouraging, if only to sort of say, no, Clive, you're not mad. I also think like this. I've been posting videos about thinking of retirement and why you might want to consider retirement. And really, like, it was about me. It was about me working through my own thoughts on it. And these walk and talk videos have very much been therapy for me as I sort of process my thoughts about the possibility of early retirement. And I started talking about it last summer. In fact, in this very field, the corn was above my head. Right now, I'd be walking through a small alleyway of corn, and now a few little shoots are just popping up around me. But yeah, so it's been a journey. And then I went to Japan in January, and I went to a few Shinto shrines, and I prayed for good luck and fortune in this channel, and voila! So that's the answer, ladies and gentlemen. All you need to do is go to Japan, visit a Shinto shrine, and your wishes will come true. If only it was that easy. So I'm planning to do a live stream on Saturday, 1 p.m. UK time, and it's an opportunity for you to kind of ask me anything. Now, I don't claim to be a guru or anything like that, even though sometimes my videos may sound, my walk and talks, my walk and rants may sound like some kind of TED lecture. It's only because I like sharing my experience of life over 50, of, you know, deciding on retiring, quiet quitting, all these things, because these are all sort of thoughts that I've had during my 50s. And I just thought, well, I can't be alone in this. And clearly I'm not. Loads and loads of people instead of subscribing. Look, I have a number of other channels and none of them have grown at the rate this channel is growing. Look, I know 5,000 subscribers may not seem a lot to some people. I mean, look, we're not talking Mr. Beast or PewDiePie or anything like that, but that doesn't matter. Clearly, what I have to say, my experiences that I like to share, because I just think, you know, it helps me process them, but also if it resonates with other people, then it just kind of helps the process. Two key things in life around about the 50 that this channel has been dealing with. When I first started this channel, it was really meant to be more of a dumping ground, as it were, for YouTube videos and stuff that I maybe wanted to do that didn't quite fit on my main channel. I say my main channel, this is becoming my main channel very fast. But on my original channel that I had, you know, which was around gaming and tech. And there are a few things I wanted to talk about, explore, or maybe things I wanted to review that I felt didn't quite fit on that channel. And so I started this channel, Level 50. And it was really, as I said, a chance to explore and talk about things a bit more personal. And then since that, obviously, the thoughts of early retirement, the possibility, why you might want to retire, what's the point of work, all of that, all these thoughts that you might get in your 50s, I just wanted to vocalize, get off my system, talk about. And those are the videos that have really resonated with people and seem to be kind of, you know, hitting a mark. I mean, I get comments from people from Australia, people from the US, people from the Scandinavia, obviously in the UK, all over, sharing their experiences, saying, yeah, oh God, Clive, I so relate to that. What you say is like what my thoughts are in my head. And it's no surprise. These are common themes, common thoughts. And as I said, I don't mean to be a guru, but things that occur to me that I suddenly think I become interested in, I go and research them. And if I find interesting things or I read interesting things that resonate with the thoughts that I might have, well, I want to share them, so I stick them in the video. So yeah, as my partner says to me, oh, sometimes you sound like you're trying to be a guru. I make no claims to be being a guru. All I'm doing is sharing my experiences and thoughts and fears and concerns about life at 50 in the hope that other people out there kind of can relate to them and also, you know, feedback. And part of that is, look, I started watching videos about some guy who, well, it's actually a couple who sold everything they owned, basically sold up the house, everything, and started saving and planning for early retirement with a view that they'd just travel the world. And they started a video, it's called To Go Rome or something like that, To Go Rome. But he also started a side channel talking about, you know, his experiences, the good and bad, on this kind of adventure that they were living. And some of the thoughts that he came up with resonated with me. And so it really gave me a focus on this channel to talk about those experiences and start really contemplating about retirement. And now, as I said, I'd say within 6 months later, here I am, retired, as it were, although those that watch my channel will know I hate that word. Financially independent, yeah, doing what I want to do, making these videos, expressing my thoughts and concerns, sharing them with you. So on Saturday, 1 p.m. UK time, as I said, I'm going to be doing a Q&A, a live Q&A. And don't worry if you can't make it live, that's fine. Wherever you are, if you can, that's great. Jump in on your phone, all of that. Get involved in the chat. I want it to be a community. I want it to be a conversation. I also want people to share their knowledge, their experience. You know, a lot of the comments I also get are people's experiences who've been retired for a while. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. So I want those kind of conversations. And so to celebrate the fact that we've hit, you know, 5,000 subscribers, trust me, we'll be at 10,000 before you know it. This channel's getting like 1,000 subscribers a month. Somebody who's, you know, already has 2 or 3 other channels, none of them are growing at that rate. So it's really exciting. And as I said, look, it's not massive numbers, I know, but for me, it's quite fun and exciting to be in this situation. You know, to get videos that, you know, are close to 100,000 views within a few months or something like that is something I would have dreamed of on my other channels. So it's an exciting time. I want to share that excitement with you. I want to share some of my experiences. I want an opportunity for you to ask questions and just get involved. So yeah, 1 p.m. UK time, Saturday. If you can make it, that'll be great. Jump into the chat. If not, the opportunity now is I want you to put questions that you might have, and it can be about anything. It's a sort of ask me anything. If I don't really like the question, I won't answer it, put it that way, if it's a bit rude or personal. But yeah, ask me anything, but you can put it in the chat right now. If you can't make the live Q&A, then just put it in the chat. Put it in the chat down below, and then I'll go through them, and then I'll try and answer those questions as truthfully and honestly as I can. Or if you have any experiences you want to share, put them in the chat here, as I said, and then I'll talk about them on the live show. The live show on 1 p.m. UK time on Saturday. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your questions. And they can be about retirement. They can be about life in your 50s, life, love, health, fitness, all of these things. I'm not answering them from the perspective of a guru or an expert. I'll just be answering them from my perspective. And hopefully some of those answers might resonate with you, give you some clarity, or, you know, you could just, or maybe you could just relate to them. We're all very different. We all have very different circumstances. There are certain threads in our lives that are going to be similar, that are going to resonate with each other. Sharing those thoughts, sharing those concerns, as I've done on these videos, I think really, really helps. This has been my therapy, going through this. As I said, if I think about it now, the journey I've been on, for me, is pretty amazing and has happened so quickly. From just a kind of a vague idea, a bit of a whisper of a dream or a concept, you know, visiting my sister in France to see her in her retirement in her lovely house in France and all of that. Just a little kernel of an idea, a little thought egg that started to hatch in my brain that if the opportunity ever came along, I would grab it. going through the thoughts and processes of why you might want to retire early. What are the pros? What are the cons? Exploring that, researching that. You know, the whole theory of the go-go years, the slow-go years and the no-go years that I've talked about before. And like, wait a minute, wouldn't you want to maximize the go-go years? And the sudden realization that it's not about the finance, it's not about saving as much money as you possibly can, possibly get. So you have like a really rich retirement, but then you're too old to actually appreciate that or, utilize all that money you've saved. It's about getting to a point in your life where you have enough, just enough. Because the value of that free time, the value of not being at work is far greater than most people sort of place on it. So look, not everybody can do it. Some people are gonna have to work a lot longer than I have. But if you can position yourself, maneuver yourself to a place where actually, you know what? I don't mind taking a little step down in my kind of lifestyle, because actually, what's the value of that lifestyle, I mean, for me, sometimes it could be as simple as just changing where you shop. Maybe having a few less coffees or something like that. I make my coffees at home anyway. But you know what I mean? And suddenly, if you stop working, you're not going to the sandwich shop. You're not going to the coffee shop. When I worked, I'd turn up at work, if I ever turned up at work, working from home. But when I went into the office on those rare occasions, that would be £4 on a coffee in the morning, go out for lunch. I would say go out for lunch, grab a sandwich or something. That's another, £4 or £5. Another coffee in the afternoon, that's another £4. So that you're talking like 15 quid a day just for the privilege of going into the office. How long do you have to work for that? That's like half an hour's work or whatever, but it all adds up, doesn't it? That's the key thing. Suddenly, when you start stripping out these things in your life, you suddenly realize actually retirement early or earlier than I thought might be achievable. As I said, look, I appreciate not everyone is in that position. Not everyone is lucky. The world we live in, financially is very shaky at the moment. I dabble a little bit in gold, not millions or anything like that, like a few £100 just out of curiosity. And right now, one minute it's up here, next minute it's down there. And as we've seen with the stock market, especially in America, with everybody's got their 401ks or whatever they're called, it's a kind of tricky time, I get it, for those that have to sort of, save and invest for their pension. And so, if anything, the financial side of things is probably the biggest worry. When I think about it, even though I'm more chilled, I'm more relaxed. I was pretty chilled and relaxed when I was working. I was working from home a lot. But even now, I'm more chilled, I'm more relaxed. But the one concern, even though I've done the calculations, is, making the money work. I'm not retiring rich in the conventional sense. Well, I'm not retiring cash rich. I have my house and all of that, but I have enough. That's what made me sort of do it. I had enough to get by. And I think, that's all that really matters. Part of me kind of wonders actually, could I have done with a little bit more? But then if I'd waited, the opportunity would have passed me by, and then I may not, been in a position to take advantage of waiting another 3 years or whatever it is. Sometimes I want to go traveling a bit more. Could I do that maybe once or twice a year? I'd like to go a bit more. I have another trip to Japan planned in October. I'm having to sort of scrimp and save a little bit for that. I've set a little bit of money aside for that, from my redundancy, a small amount, but the rest I'm just trying to save for that, because it can be expensive. In fairness, you get a lot for your pound out there, but just, traveling out there, then the accommodation, etc. Oh! Yes. Well, stay healthy when you're 50, you get a heart attack when somebody pings their bell like that. Whew. I'd love to say I'd worked it out to the nth degree. Maybe I could have done a little bit more financial research on what I actually needed. But there comes a point where, I've said before in videos, you get to a point where you just think, I've done enough calculations. It's kind of okay. I've done the risk assessment. I can't 100% proof it, but it's enough for me to take the leap. And like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, you just got to sometimes do it and take that leap, haven't you? I'd love to share and hear what you want me to talk about on this channel, what you want me to explore more, questions you might have. I said it doesn't have to be about retirement. It could be about health, fitness. If you're interested in my workout routine, I'm planning to share hopefully on this channel. I'm just working through it at the moment, literally doing the workout routine, and it's a bit harder than I thought it was. Before I record it, I need to get to a point where I'm confident that I could do it without panting too much, because I'm going to have to talk while I do it. Anyway, that's a different thing. Let me know if you're interested in, you know, what my workout routine is and all of that. And yeah, questions about relationships in your 50s and stuff like that, because that's another thing that I'm interested in. In my 50s, I found a new relationship after separating from the mother of my children. You know, I had a long period of time of singledom, and I love being single, and I've talked about it on this channel, the importance of embracing that and accepting your life as being, you know, single, and how it can benefit you if you then decide you want to go back on the dating market or whatever it is. Being confident in yourself as a person or life as single will set you up in a much better position. So yeah, that's what this channel is about. Level 50, all things about being 50, work, career, where's it gonna go, or has it stopped? How can you get yourself motivated? Retiring early, what are your concerns? What are the fears? What have I found? You know, what my feelings so far? As people like to point out, you are only just into this, mate. You've got a right shock coming. And maybe I have, you know, maybe people are talking with experience, but I'm living it. Most of the responses I seem to get on my channel about being in your 50s, it can be a great time if you want it to be. Your 50s is a real wonderful opportunity. As I've said in my previous video, take stock, rethink about your life in a way that you've perhaps not been able to do because life has taken you over. But when you get to 50, there's a real opportunity to go, okay, where's the rest of my life going from this point? Feel like you've been on a runaway train, leave school or education or university or whatever it is, you get into the job market, then you're on the career round, then you sort of start settling down, partnering off, then you might have kids, all these things that people might be experiencing. And it just sometimes feels like a runaway train. And it's not until maybe that you hit your 50s where you're going, wow, I've been working for most of my life. Where's my career going? Have I reached the zenith of my career? What about retirement? You might be thinking about that. Your kids might have left school, all of that. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna pause for a moment because we've got barking dogs. All right. Lordy. Yapping dogs. I know a lot of you are dog lovers, so I won't disparage the dogs too much. It's interrupting my peace, man. Anyway, so yeah, whatever questions you might have, love, life, the universe at 50, all these things, as I said, when you hit 50, it's one of the first times in a long time in your life that you could take maybe an opportunity to pause. You've done the career thing, you've done the relationship thing, you've done the kids thing, you know, you probably even had the midlife crisis thing. You've done it all. Now is the next stage of your life. So 50, that period of your life where you start thinking, what am I gonna do? And more importantly, what would you like to do? That's the key thing. So all those questions, whatever they are, I'd love it if you could join me live. As I said, we'll do it live. And if you can't make it live, then you can catch up on the video later. And I'd love to hear your comments on other people's comments and thoughts. But one thing I know about live shows and doing these sort of things is they only really work if other people join in. Yeah, I used to do live streams on one of my other channels, different community, a gaming community. And when the chat was buzzing and people were chatting back and forth in the chat, it just made it really vibrant and interesting, and loads of thoughts came up and stuff like that. So I'd like to replicate that if I can for this channel, Level 50, be part of the community, join in, share your thoughts, ask your questions, all of those things. Join me live on Saturday, 1 p.m. UK time on this very channel with your questions, grab a cup of tea and all of that. And as ever, if you like this video, do me a great favor, please, because it really helps the YouTube algorithms and it helps me, because remember, hit those likes because I like it, YouTube likes it, and it helps people like you find content like this. And we want more people to find content like this, to join the gang, as it were. And if you're new to my video or you've watched the videos before, over 80% of people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. What? Do me the great honor, please. If you're one of those people, if you're brand new, whatever it is, hit that subscribe button, toggle that notification bell, and that way you'll know when I go live and upload videos just like this. Talking videos just like this, why don't you check out the videos here? And hopefully I'll see you Saturday. Thanks for watching.